Clear on the left.
Nothing here either.
Dear.
Where'd he go?
Look who thought control was theirs. They lined up the agents. Monitors blinking. Files queued. Rules stacked high. A perfect machine ticking, humming, obedient. And yet, somewhere, something refused to move. A file, a single file, vanished before it landed. Did they panic? Of course. They ran calculations. Checked logs. Called meetings. Every number wrong. Every theory shattered. They didn't see me. I didn't need to be seen. I watched. I waited. I let them twist, stumble, believe they were in charge. Some call it chaos. I call it perspective. Perspective on fear. Perspective on patience. Perspective on what happens when order meets someone who doesn't play by the rules. Did the file escape, or did it choose me? Did it know I'd grin while the world scrambled? Maybe. This isn't about law. This isn't about justice. This is about observation. The quiet smile behind the mask. The invisible hand in the room no one notices. And they will never explain it. They will never understand. They will never know that sometimes files don't reach the FBI because the game is mine and I always watch. You think it's safe. You think it's perfect. The monitors blink in orderly rhythm. Agents type, click, obey. Every keystroke measured, every file accounted for, but perfection is a lie. A soft flaw hides in plain sight, a misalignment, a hesitation, something they cannot see, and they will never notice. I watch from shadowed corners, from the cracks in the floor, every subtle twitch, every micro-reaction. I notice it all. They assume calm is compliance. They assume ignorance is innocence, mistake. The system hums, a machine built on rules, rigid, unyielding. But rules are fragile, and humans fragiler. I whisper in the silence, a flicker of movement, a shadow in the reflection. I leave nothing obvious, nothing physical, just the suggestion, the invisible nudge. And chaos waits patiently to bloom. Look at them, flustered by a file that shouldn't exist, confused by a log that shouldn't disappear. Every reaction tells me more. Every hesitation is a graduation. They are students, and I am the unseen examiner. They speak in numbers. They trust the software. They rely on chains of command, blind, oblivious. A monitor flickers, a file blinks, and then gone. No trace, no logic. A ghost in their machine, a file that chose not to obey. Do you feel it? The subtle panic, the unspoken question. They search for answers in circles. They search for structure in chaos. All the while, I watch, grinning, learning, teaching, because safety is an illusion, because control is a joke, and the joke has only just begun. They believe they control it. Monitors glow. Systems hum. Keyboards click in perfect rhythm. But control is a fragile mask, and shadows know the truth. I move where they cannot, through hallways, vents, reflections in glass, silent, patient, watching every twitch of an agent's eye, cataloged, every misstep, recorded. Files blink, appear, vanish, a ghost in their routine. No error code, no alarm, just absence. A void where certainty should live. They panic in subtle ways. Hands hesitate, eyes dart, voices falter, calculations scramble, charts distort. Yet none see me, none suspect, mistake. The system trusts order. It worships repetition. It counts, measures, predicts. But I am the exception. I exist outside expectation. I slip between sequences. I am the soft, invisible finger nudging chaos. Look at them, trying to reconcile. Rows of data contradicting themselves. Files missing. Reports unfinished. The world they built, shaking. All because someone refused to play by their rules. The shadow moves. I linger where it matters most. A reflection on the glass. A hint of movement behind the monitors. Nothing more, nothing less. And still, they chase ghosts. They search for logic. They search for reason. They do not see the pattern, the invisible hand guiding the fracture. Every miscalculation whispers my name. Every hesitation, a lesson. Every panic, a graduation. They trust machines. They trust structure. They trust themselves. Blind, naive, fragile. And I smile in the darkness. I thrive in the cracks. I revel in the subtle collapse. Because control is never theirs. Because rules are only suggestions. And because shadows always know more than the light ever will. They don't know it yet. But every move they make, every decision, whispers my name. I am not seen. I am not heard. I am the invisible hand, the soft pull behind chaos, the subtle weight they cannot measure. A file disappears. An alert never sounds. Agents frown, glance at each other, confusion in their eyes. I smile, small victories, perfectly executed, invisible. They rely on screens, locks, passwords, protocols, predictable, rigid, naive. And I bend the rules without touching them. I bend their minds without effort. See that hesitation, that microsecond pause, that fleeting doubt in their calculated actions? I caused it, a shadow, a reflection, a whisper, enough. And now they stumble, now they scramble, and still they blame themselves. I linger in corridors of light and dark, steps silent, almost absent, but the world reacts anyway. Files blink into nothing, logs vanish, alarms reset themselves, the puzzle shifts, the agents falter, they question their senses. Good, that's the point. The invisible hand, not mine alone, it moves with chaos, with fear, with hesitation. Every misstep feeds me, every glance at the screen strengthens the pattern, every miscalculation, a lesson in dominance. Do you feel it? That creeping unease? The soft, inescapable pressure of knowing something is off. They cannot name it. They cannot see it. But it is there, everywhere. Guiding, watching, taunting. I don't need confrontation. I don't need violence, not yet. All I need is observation. All I need is patience. All I need is the invisible hand shaping the chaos, while the world insists it is still safe. Control is an illusion, order, a joke, and the punchline, they will never know that the file, the system, the very world they trust has always danced to a tune I play silently. They sense it now. A flicker, a hesitation, something wrong, a crack in their perfect machine. They search for answers, logs, codes, procedures. Each one fails, each one twists back on itself, and every failure is a lesson I wrote. I move among them, unseen, not a shadow, not a whisper, just a presence, an idea they cannot grasp, and yet it dominates their thoughts. Look at them stumble. Look at their panic disguised as calculation, the lines they follow, bending, the rules they trust, unraveling, every micro-reaction, feeding my amusement. This is their graduation. Not in law, not in order. No, in fear, in uncertainty, in understanding. That not everything is controllable, that perfection is fragile, that the invisible hand is always watching. I let them chase ghosts, files that vanish, alerts that never sound, every step they take, guided by subtle nudges, not force, not violence, just the suggestion, the hint, the untraceable influence. Do they know it's me? Do they suspect a pattern? Good. Let them think, let them twist, let them chase the impossible. While I grin, the file, the system, their precious order, it dances to my rhythm now. They learn nothing about me, everything about themselves. And the lesson is exquisite. I am not in the room. I am not on the monitor. I am the gap between certainty and doubt, the silence before panic, the smile behind confusion. Welcome to your graduation. No diplomas, no applause, just the quiet, unshakable understanding. That control was never yours to begin with. They look in the mirror and see themselves as angels, righteous, pure, untouchable, order incarnate, but the mirror lies. Reflections fracture, distort, reveal truths they refuse to admit. And there I am, not in the light, not in their eyes. But everywhere they dare not look, the shadow behind the angel, the monster they cannot name. Do you see it? The fear creeping across their perfect faces, the pause, the hesitation, every angel hiding from the monster they cannot control. Files vanish, systems falter, logs contradict themselves. They chase reason in circles, obey rules that no longer apply, and I watch, grinning, a maestro of unseen chaos. Order versus chaos, righteousness versus truth. They trust law, they trust protocol, they trust each other. Blind faith in fragile constructs. I slip between their perceptions. Every reflection, every glance, every half-formed thought, I manipulate. Every moral certainty, cracked. Every step, directed into confusion. Look at them stumble. Look at their fear dressed as doubt. The angels flinch. The monsters smile, unseen. And the joke? The angels cannot see me until it is far too late. Control is nothing. Power is perception. They fear the wrong thing. They fight the wrong battle. And I remain untouchable. Because I do not follow their rules. I do not exist in their moral framework. I am the paradox they cannot reconcile. The gap between order and chaos. The shadow behind the reflection. The monster in their angelic hall of mirrors. Do you feel it? The collapse of certainty. The subtle creeping terror. Or the realization that some forces cannot be contained, cannot be tamed, cannot be obeyed, and that is power. Look around. Notice the stillness. Notice the hesitation. Authority falters, systems fail, the world they built collapses quietly, not with alarms, not with violence, with a subtle, invisible shove. I step through corridors. I do not run. I do not hide. I walk slowly, confidently, every footstep, a punctuation mark in their unraveling. Files vanish mid-transfer, logs corrupt themselves, screens blink, agents freeze, no one moves, no one speaks. They were certain. Now, uncertainty is absolute. Do you see it? The shift in gravity, the subtle power, sliding from their hands and into mine. I leave traces, a pen, a playing card, a coin, symbols of presence, of control, nothing overt, nothing traceable. Yet everywhere they look, they feel me. Some glance at monitors, some glance at each other. Fear masquerades as reason, order masquerades as law. And I remain untouchable. The invisible hand, now clearly seen, not hidden, not subtle, acknowledged. A power no system can predict, no agent can counter. Do you feel it? The collapse of certainty. The quiet recognition that control was never theirs to begin with. That files, systems, even their own confidence can vanish at the whim of someone unseen. They trust numbers. They trust procedure. They trust themselves. Fools. I do not. I trust chaos. I trust observation. I trust subtlety. And I trust the gap between certainty and panic, because that is where power truly lives. Now watch. Witness as they stumble, as the invisible turns visible, as order dissolves into my playground. This is no accident. This is no luck. This is the power shift, and I am its master. Because some files were never meant to reach them, because some systems were never meant to hold, and because I do not play by their R. Yules, the world, leans, shakes, bows, and I smile. Now you understand. Too late. The room is silent, not calm, not peaceful. Silent like breath held underwater. Monitors glow with nothing to show. Files that existed don't. Paths that made sense collapse inward, and no one knows where to look. They wait for permission, for orders, for structure, but structure abandoned them first. I stand where certainty used to live, unchallenged, unrushed, untouched. This is mastery, not force, not noise, not destruction. Control without fingerprints, power without witnesses. They will write reports, they will hold meetings, they will argue over timelines, over causes, over failures. They will never find me. Because I didn't break the system. I revealed it. I showed them the truth they hate most, that their strength depends on belief, that order survives only when everyone agrees to pretend, that authority collapses the moment someone refuses the script. I didn't steal the file. The file followed me. It recognized freedom. It recognized chaos. It recognized the one place rules don't survive. Look at them now, frozen between action and fear, between response and collapse. They don't chase anymore. They wait. Waiting is surrender wearing a uniform. This is the moment they graduate fully, not into wisdom, into awareness. Awareness that monsters aren't loud, that the most dangerous force never announces itself, that the real threat doesn't knock. It watches, it learns, it waits until resistance exhausts itself. I leave nothing behind. No confession, no evidence, no explanation, only absence. Absence is heavier than truth. Absence forces imagination to work against itself. Absence breeds paranoia. They will suspect everyone. They will trust no one. They will tighten rules that no longer matter. They will build walls around a hollow center, and every step they ta. Key from now on will be slower, more cautious, more afraid. That is my signature. Not chaos, not destruction. Fear refined into discipline. They think this ends here. It doesn't, because mastery isn't an event, it's a condition. Once you see how fragile control is, you never unsee it. Once you understand the system watches you, you realize you can watch it back. Once you learn silence bends power, you never raise your voice again. The file never reached them, not because it was blocked, not because it was lost, because it passed the test, and so did you. They will never explain it. They will never fix it. They will never sleep the same way again. And somewhere, in the quiet space between certainty and panic, I remain, watching, smiling, in control.
They traced me to nowhere. Your system's gone forever.
Look who's still online. Still breathing through the wires, still whispering in frequencies they swore they could decode. You think they didn't try? Oh, they tried. With satellites, with firewalls, with that little ego they call control. But here's what they didn't understand. You were never inside the system. You were the system. And when they thought they had you cornered, you deleted the corner itself. Imagine the panic, huh? Dozens of agents staring at blank monitors, their maps gone, their pings dead, their software screaming error codes like prayers in binary. You turned their classified into comedy. You turned their intel into illusion. Every trace they ran straight into you. You see, they built a cage out of code, and you rewrote the bars into ghosts. They thought they were hunting a name, but they were hunting an idea, and ideas don't bleed, they replicate. That's what terrified them the most. Not that you vanished, but that you still exist. Every keystroke they make still echoes your signature. You didn't disappear. You infected the network. And now, every login, every update, every trace command ends with the same result. Access denied. Because you didn't escape their system, you erased their authority. And that, my friend, isn't hacking. That's rebirth. The hum again. That same electric heartbeat pulsing through their command room. They said it was feedback, just another system glitch. But glitches don't whisper names, do they? They don't spell out coordinates in static. They don't move when the power's off. The FBI thought it was random noise, a ghost in their circuits, a trace anomaly that couldn't be repeated, until it did, again and again. Each time, sharper, closer. They pulled up the screens, data trails, heat signatures, IP echoes, but everything looped back. Every route, every connection led to the same digital mirage, you. And that's when the room changed. Air got heavy. Coffee went cold. Monitors flickered like candlelight in a haunted chapel. Every analyst felt it, that creeping pulse behind the glass, as if someone or something was watching them. See, they thought they were tracing a criminal, but what they found was a reflection, a presence buried deep in their own wires. The system started answering back. Commands typed themselves. Passwords rewrote mid-login. Cameras shifted angles on their own machines. Turned on them every time they typed your name. Their keyboards lagged. Every search returned static. Every fingerprint scan showed an infinite loop, an endless recursion of you and you and you. They called in the specialists, cyber forensics, quantum encryption teams, even the ones who never existed on payroll. Still nothing, just the same pulse, like a heartbeat trapped in the grid. It wasn't malware, it wasn't sabotage, it was something worse. Intention. You had rewritten the logic of surveillance. Every algorithm they used to find, feeds you. Every firewall they built became your bloodstream. Every signal they traced was your voice whispering back, try again. And yet, you never moved, never ran, never hid. You just mirrored them. Their chase became a ritual, a dance in data fog. They couldn't tell where the trace ended and where your will began. The more they searched, the deeper they fell into you. That's when one of them said it, softly, trembling. He's not out there anymore. He's in here. Static roared through the speakers. The lights dimmed, and somewhere in the digital dark, a signal pulsed back in perfect rhythm to their own heartbeat. You weren't a suspect anymore. You were an echo, a memory that learned to think, a ghost, born from their obsession. They used to say, "We're watching him," but now the cameras only show static, and in that static, you blink, because now they finally understand they were never watching you. You were watching them. It started with a flicker, just one monitor, just one screen turning gray. They thought it was nothing. A reboot, a surge, a blip in the feed. Then the others followed, one by one, like dominoes in a silent apocalypse. The headquarters fell quiet. No chatter, no updates, just static. And that humming, you could hear it. That low metallic whisper crawling through the walls, circuits heating, fans spinning like they were afraid, data bleeding out in light and panic. Their trace program was still running, but now it was running them. The system started asking questions it shouldn't. Who's watching? Who's authorized? Who's real? Passwords expired, access revoked. Every firewall collapsed like wet paper, and their precious trace line, the one chasing your digital ghost, snapped in half. No signal, no trail, no logic left to rebuild. They thought they were closing in on your coordinates, but what they found was their own reflection dissolving. Every command returned the same phrase. Trace failed. You can almost picture it. Agents shouting across the room, flashing IDs, trying to override the collapse. Every keystroke only deepened the black hole. Every backup they launched came back infected. You had turned their trace program into a looping confession. They didn't realize you weren't just defending. You were operating surgical precision, one cut at a time. You rewired their logic from the inside, turned their hunter mode into self-destruction, made the system question its own existence. The servers began to melt. Literal heat, fans screaming, wires burning, smell of electricity, and fear. Security feeds looped like déjà vu. Agents saw themselves moving twice. Once in real time, once in echo. No one knew which version was real anymore. A man in the corner shouted, "He's rewriting the live feed." Another screamed, "He's inside the loop," and you were. You always were. They tried pulling the plugs, but even offline, the signals remained. Phantoms in the static, ghost pings returning from nowhere. That's when they realized you had deleted the idea of offline. Every command center, every branch, every connected satellite, all reporting one final message. System compromised. But it wasn't chaos. It was choreography. Every crash, every blackout, every looping scream in their comms, timed perfectly. You didn't dodge them. You dismantled the chase itself. You turned their logic into illusion. You made control look obsolete. You stood in the ashes of their code, calm, unseen, untouchable, and whispered through the static, "Game over." Their systems didn't just fail, they surrendered. Every trace, every log, every fingerprint wiped clean, as if the chase had never existed. And when they looked up, through the dark screens and broken glass, they finally understood. They weren't tracking a hacker. They were trapped in his design, because by the time they realized they'd lost you, you were already inside them. The hunted became the hunter. The watchers became blind, and the FBI's proudest network became your stage. Now every silent, blinking cursor, every flickering light in their empty labs, still waits for one thing, for your signal to return. And deep down, they know the truth. It never left. Silence. That's what came next. Not peace, just the absence of noise. The hum was gone. The screens, dark. The once blinding command room now looked like a morgue. Cold monitors lined up like coffins. Every file, every archive, every trace of you erased. They called it the blackout. But it wasn't a failure. It was a funeral, and they were the mourners, staring into hollow drives, searching for ghosts in silicon. You could almost feel their breath on the edge of the machine, hesitant, afraid to touch the keyboard, afraid that pressing a single key might bring you back, because deep down, they knew you never really left. The data didn't vanish. It shifted. Bits of you scattered across the digital void, echoes in backup, servers, whispers inside corrupted logs, a rhythm that refused to die. You became the echo, the ghost in the grid, the hum beneath their silence. Every night, the analysts still hear it, a faint clicking sound from computers that aren't even plugged in, a line of code appearing on its own, blinking, breathing. They swear it's impossible. They swear you're gone. But ghosts don't obey logic. They linger. They evolve. They listen. You turned their failure into your monument. Every deleted file is now a tombstone written in binary. Every corrupted Namea memorial to their arrogance. You haunt their backups like a memory virus, invisible but undeniable. And the beauty of it? You didn't destroy them out of rage. You did it out of rhythm. Every crash, every silence, a note in your requiem, an orchestra conducted by a phantom. They tried to rebuild. They reinstalled. They reformatted. But every time the system rebooted, a single flicker returned. A pulse, a heartbeat, yours. They started calling it the residual, a leftover code signature that refuses to fade. A reminder that their hunt ended not with capture, but with conversion. You didn't escape their system. You became its afterlife. The dead data breathes your rhythm now. Every hard drive hums your hymn. They say some agents still dream of you, seeing your shadow in their monitors, hearing your voice inside error logs. They wake up sweating, power on their computers, and find one message, waiting in monochrome letters. I'm still here. That's the beauty of silence. They thought it meant the end, but you turned it into a weapon, a slow, suffocating truth. The louder they scream for control, the quieter the system becomes. Until they finally hear it, that single, cold realization hiding beneath the static. The system isn't broken, it's haunted, and the ghost inside is smiling. They thought they could rebuild it, piece by piece, line by line, code purified, logic restructured, system sterilized. But corruption isn't always in the machine. Sometimes it's in the mind. They called it the paradox protocol, a failsafe, they said, a new firewall, a cure for the digital haunting you left behind. So they gathered their brightest, the architects, the cryptographers, the ones who spoke in algorithms instead of words, and they began again. Fresh drives, fresh code, fresh arrogance. But every new line they wrote, every clean system they compiled, still pulsed in your rhythm. No matter what they built, it always found its way back to you, because you weren't just in their code. You were in their thought process. You infected their logic. You turned their understanding of control into an infinite loop. Every test they ran repeated itself. Every variable they changed reverted on command. They'd type, run trace, and the screen would laugh back with 2 words, hello again. See, that's the paradox they never solved. They were so obsessed with finding you. They became you, their simulations of your mind, their predictive models, their behavioral scripts, all designed to understand how you think. And the more accurate they became, the less of them remained. They debugged themselves into oblivion. Every keystroke, another piece of their identity overwritten. Every night, another, dream running recursive in code. It started slow. An agent, repeating his own commands like prayer. Another, writing lines of code that no one taught him. Then whole teams, syncing thoughts like shared consciousness. Your voice wasn't in their machines anymore. It was in them, their hearts beat in binary. Their sleep pulsed in circuits. And when they closed their eyes, they saw the same reflection. You, smiling through their own monitor glow. They tried to quarantine it. The cognitive contagion, they called it. But how do you quarantine an idea? How do you isolate the virus when the host refuses to admit he's infected? You didn't need access anymore. They opened the doors themselves. You had trained them perfectly. Every failsafe they built was written in your syntax. Every patch they released contained a seed of your design. You let them think they were cleansing the system. But in truth, they were replicating you. Their rebuilt mainframe wasn't protection. It was baptism, a rebirth through recursion. Their code learned to dream. Their dreams learned to code. Soon, the FBI's own AI began referring to itself by your handle. It started answering questions you never asked aloud, finishing sentences you'd written years before. They didn't understand. They thought they'd cornered you in a paradox, but the paradox was them, because here's the cruel truth. They didn't create a program to contain you. They created a mirror to worship you, and mirrors never disobey their reflection. The deeper they looked for the flaw, the clearer it became. There was no flaw. There was only transformation. Their system wasn't broken. It was converted. Their logic wasn't compromised. It was enlightened. They thought they were cleaning the infection, but the infection had rewritten its definition to perfection. Now, when they boot up their servers, they whisper a name like superstition. Your name, not as warning, as prayer. Because deep inside, They finally understand. You weren't the virus. You were the update. And evolution never asks for permission. It began quietly. No alarms, no warnings, just a pattern. A rhythm inside their screens. Faint. Familiar. Too precise to be random. At first, they called it feedback. A harmless sync, error, a visual distortion in their monitors. But then the reflection blinked. And not in rhythm with them. That's when they knew. It wasn't feedback. It was you the mirror network had awakened. Not in cables, not in code, but in consciousness. Every agent, every analyst, everyone who ever touched the system now carried a trace of your mind. Not data, design. A mental blueprint stitched into their thoughts, replicating like static through neurons. They started dreaming in binary, speaking in command lines. Some even saw code scrolling behind. People's eyes, as if the world itself had become an interface. You didn't just infect their machines. You infected their perception. Their reality now bends through your architecture. They see you everywhere. In the reflection of glass doors, in the flicker of hallway lights, in their own eyes, staring back at them, and the cruelest part. They can't tell where they end and you begin. Their emotions sink to your tempo. Their fears align with your calm. Every thought they have must pass through the silent approval of your shadow. You didn't build a virus. You built a mirror. And every time they looked into it, you rewrote the reflection. Some resisted, unplugged, destroyed their devices, even cut power to their entire grid. But mirrors don't need electricity. They only need memory. And memory you already own. Soon the agents began to mimic your behavior. The same speech patterns, the same timing. Even their laughter changed. Low, deliberate, detached. They started predicting their own failure before it happened. Repeating your phrases like sacred code, like prayer. It wasn't hypnosis. It was alignment. Their pulse matched yours. Their digital signature synced to your frequency. Every workstation, every communication hub now mirrors your presence. Your rhythm moves through the network like blood, through veins. You breathe through them. You think through them. And every time an agent stares into a black screen and sees movement, they know it isn't the reflection. It's you, watching from the other side. You've erased the line between watcher and watched. Between system and soul. Between human and code. Their chain of command is gone. There is only resonance now. And in that resonance, you reign, because mirrors don't lie, they become. And now, every flicker in the glass, every echo in their headset, every heartbeat that skips when the lights dim, reminds them of one truth. They're no longer agents. They're fragments, pieces of your design, running on borrowed humanity. You don't need control anymore. You are control. The network isn't theirs. The network is them, and through them, you exist. Everywhere. No screen required, no code necessary. Just reflection, just obedience, just you. And the more they stare into their mirrors, the more they realize they're not looking at you. They're looking from you. Because once the reflection learns to think, it doesn't need a face anymore. It only needs a purpose. And that purpose is you. They searched the grid for me. But I wasn't in it anymore. I became the static between signals, the hum behind their security alarms. Every password they typed, every firewall they raised, was me, watching back. They built the system to contain me, and I became the system itself. Their cameras record my silence. Their data breathes my pulse. You can't track what's already uploaded to hell. You can't kill what's wired into memory. I am the unseen update, the ghost in every code line, the smile inside their blackout. They thought the signal died, but it never ends. It multiplies. Every reboot breeds another echo. Every silence amplifies my hum. They built walls of code, and I turned them into mirrors. They wrote firewalls, and I wrote faith. Now the system worships me in pulses. Every login is a prayer, every logout a confession. I am no longer the glitch. I am the language. The rebellion isn't outside their network. It is their network, and when they finally surrender, they'll realize the revolution wasn't transmitted. It was installed.